This episode is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, the #1 seller of games and gaming accessories. And GatheringMagic.com, the #1 resource for Magic the Gathering news and articles.
Hi, my name is Chris, and this is my Norin the Wary deck. We have Norin, the general. The whole deck focuses around him. A lot of times you'll put him on the table and people will be like, Norin, that card doesn't even do anything, so they'll just write you off as just a dumb little deck, but he really is an engine that is to be reckoned with. We got a whole bunch of mountains, snow-covered, because it's EDH and we like to pimp out our stuff and make them look pretty cool. So we got a bunch of those. I don't even know what the number is off the top of my head. So we got here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 20 snow-covered mountains. Looking for foils if you find them. Then we got our basic fetch lands, Bloodstained Mire, Arid Mesa, Wooded Foothills, anything that has red in it. Scalding Tarn, just to help thin out and shuffle. There'll be times where you have like a Sensei's Divining top or effects that you're looking at the top of your library, you want to change things around. Haunted Fengraf is just a utility card in a monocolored deck. You can sacrifice it, return a creature at random from your graveyard to your hand. A lot of our creatures have effects, so pretty useful. Kher Keep, making those red blockers. We're going to be able to pump them up later on with some other cards, so pretty useful. Buried Ruin, similar to Haunted Fengraf, where we're bringing back artifacts just to get utility out of everything. Great Furnace, artifact. Goblin Welder's in here somewhere, so it's a sack outlet, plus it's red. Darksteel Citadel, same reason, but colorless. Strip Mine, get rid of those pesky lands. Volakut, mono red, so we want to be able to do some damage with lands, non-red sources. Scrying Sheets, helps with all of our snow-covered mountains. We can thin our deck out. Cavern of Souls. It is a Norin deck, but the backbone is really a Goblins, so it helps make our Goblins uncounterable. Now we get to our mana producers. This Honor-Worn Shaku is a great card. You never see this, but with Norin, it combos out really effectively to provide some mana, and then at the end of turn, Norin's coming back, you can untap it, so you're always having a colorless mana every turn, especially if your opponents are playing stuff, so it lets you top or use extra colorless mana all over the place. Mindstone, mana, draw a card. Iron Mirror, just red mana, and he's an artifact. Goblin Welder, which we'll get to eventually. Everyone's commander favorite, Solemn Simulacrum, gets your mountains out and lets you draw cards. Caged Sun to double that red mana and make your kobolds from earlier stronger, etc., etc. Soul Ring, have to have it. Mana Vault, just ramp up the artifacts. Gauntlet of Power, just like Caged Sun, just doubling the mana, +1/+1s. Springleaf Drum works really well with Norin. Every turn he's an extra mana, so there you go. Now here we go, this is where we're getting the creatures, and I didn't really put them in all in order, but we got Zealous Conscripts. We got him with Kiki Jiki for our have to win right now combo. You have it there, you don't have to use it, but it's pretty fun. Plus there's all sorts of uses for Zealous Conscript. You can take other people's permanents, you know, it's commander, there's everything out there, so that's fun. Mogg Catcher, most of the deck is goblins, so you can pop them out at instant speed, find whatever goblin you need. All the goblins have utility, so pretty good there. We're gonna have Goblin Matron, who's a goblin tutor. This is a fun one, not many people have this guy. This is Akki Underminer. A lot of times there's someone at the table that's just not doing anything, and a lot of commander players hate it when you make them sack permanents. But he can get in there and just start chipping away and making people sack. 1v1, he is an MVP. So, cool. Lightning Crafter is just one of those utility cards, does some damage, and you got some combos in here that you can use with him. One of our old plane chase cards, or new plane chase cards, I guess, Beetleback Chief. Just goblins, he's giving you more numbers than he's worth. We have Skull Clamp in here and other things that are pumping up goblins, so he's pretty handy. Not many people own this card. Goblin Settler. He is a really expensive Avalanche Rider, but he's a goblin, so he's tutorable and abusable, especially with Kiki Jiki and things like that. You can just start to land destruction people in 1v1 games. In group games, he gets rid of those utility lands that you don't like. Goblin Welder. Mini artifacts, mini abilities, bringing them back. Mogg War Marshal. Just cost effective, giving you 2 to 3 goblins. Outrage Shaman is also goblin. He has the old wording for devotion, which is chroma, but he can just come in and do some damage. Probably could be Magus' Fanatic, or Fanatics of Magus now. I haven't updated this list with Theros, but he's pretty good. Tuktuk Scrapper, just getting rid of those artifacts. Sting Scourger, bouncing creatures. Recruiter to set up your goblin combos if you need to. Rummaging Goblin, digging through. Red has a hard time drawing cards, so this helps him out. Squee goes hand in hand with Rummaging Goblin and other effects. Siege Gang Commander, pretty straightforward and basic. Cranko, in case you want to go the Goblin win. Goblin Assassin. This guy's fun too. He lets you get rid of things that you can't normally target. He makes it so whenever a goblin comes into play, or himself, you flip a coin, each player flips a coin, and they have to sacrifice a creature if they lose the flip. If you have effects that are putting lots of goblins in play, it stacks, and you can have Wrath of God effects just off of one guy. So that's pretty cool. Now here's where we get to fun, crazy stuff. Grip of Chaos. The more players you get, the more convoluted the game state gets. I've had games where I'm number generating random 86 dice, etc. This just makes the games really fun. This is what Commander's about, letting you play big, crazy cards like this. Look it up if you can't read it. Warp World's another one of those, just fun, blow your mind, have a story to tell at the next Commander game. I was winning and suddenly Warp World happened and all my opponent's goblins turned into crazy things and all my stuff turned into sorceries, which wasn't very exciting. Fun card. Trading Post. Utility, just pure utility there. Draw cards, gain life, make blockers, bring those artifacts back. Sculpting Steel. Everyone has good artifacts in Commander. Why don't you copy them? Relic. Draw card, remove graveyards. Straightforward. Every deck should have that. Mindclaw Shaman. Just red utility. Pretty much all the red decks play this guy nowadays. Lets you get those pesky spells out of people's hands. Another fun one. Planar Chaos. This one counters spells, so it's a red counter spell, at the flip of a coin. So if you feel lucky, this is one of those coin flipping red cards. I love it. I've had it stay on the board for a number of turns and just counter everything except my stuff, which is great. Helm of Possession lets you turn all your tokens and stuff into your opponent's best creatures, so that's good. Crucible, play those lands from the graveyard, fetch lands, strip mines, haunted fengraphs, buried ruins, all that utility comes back for seconds. Reiterate just lets you copy with buyback, always good. Fork, copy, and reverberate the new fork. Just copy, copy, copy. Every red deck needs some drawing, so we got Faithless Looting. Works well with Squee. Sensei's Divining Top. Commander favorite. Wheel of Fortune. Just red decks are burning their hands pretty quick. This lets me restock. Mind's Eye. Draw cards when my opponent does. Same thing as Wheel of Fortune. Just miracle cost. Gamble. Tutor for those cards you need. Teferi's Puzzle Box lets you cycle through your cards really fast. You're casting a lot of them. And it just ruins your opponent when they're trying to set things up, especially combo decks and things like that. This is just one of those cards that is fun. And it's a judge card. Judges love this card because of the rulings and interactions that it has. Memory Jar, draw 7. This guy just lets you discard and draw a card. Good with Squee, good with Kiki Jiki, things of that sort. Always fun. Stranglehold makes it so opponents can't search the libraries and no extra turns. Fun, fun, fun. Now here we get to the hate. Since it's mono red, we got to hate out those multicolor decks. So we got the Magus of the Moon, and Ruination, and Blood Moon is in here somewhere. Well, maybe Blood Moon's not. Blood Moon should be in here. I think I took it out. Shattering Spree blows up artifacts. This is where it's a removal part. Manic Vandal destroys artifacts. Aftershock, many options. If you're not playing this card in a red deck, you should be. Lets you get creatures, artifacts, or lands. Very, very versatile. Chandra, 4 damage to creatures, draw cards, and you could use the last ability. I don't think I ever used that, but it's there. Possible. Duplicate to remove creatures. Chaos Warp is fun, just removes things. Red, instant removal. Red's Wrath of God, Mogg Infestation. Kill all those pesky creatures, get a bunch of goblins, or you can do it to yourself and double your goblin horde. Always fun. Skull Clamp works with all the goblins and tokens you're generating for card draw. Conjurer's Closet is just one of those fun effects. Got a lot of come into play abilities, so we got come into play effects, or doubling those abilities. Now here is the Norin combos. Things that work really well with Norin. We got Pandemonium. Whenever a creature comes into play, does damage equal to his power. Norin's coming into play almost every single turn. Shocking all the time. Plus you have other things that come into play. Now this works for your opponents. A lot of them don't read that, but it does. Here is Pandemonium one-sided, Warstorm Surge. This one only works for you. Little more expensive, but you get there pretty fast. And Norin's just coming in doing 2 damage all the time, and all your other creatures as well. Cloudstone Curio is great with Norin, because Norin's coming back at the end of every turn. Bouncing your utility creatures, you can bounce back your Sting Scourger, your Siege Gating Commander, your Goblin Settler, all the guys that have come into play effects, so you're getting lots of versatility. Plus it's making it so you don't leave your guys on the board, and they can have effects, you know, they dodge wraths and things like that. And Norin never gets wrathed, which is great, so there you go. Genesis Chamber is an MVP with Norin. Whenever a creature comes in, a non-token creature comes into play, you're getting a 1/1 mirror token. So every turn you're getting a mirror token, assuming the game is happening and people are playing stuff. It adds up to a pretty quick storm or swarm. Also, it's great with Skull Clamp, effects like that. Really fun card here. And here is the game changer, Confusion in the Ranks. Whenever an artifact, creature, or enchantment come into play, its controller chooses target permanent another player controls that shares a type with it. Exchange control of those permanents. Basically, this says every time Norin comes into play, you get to take your opponent's best creatures. And as long as you're playing spells or they're playing spells, Norin's going to go away. And when he comes back into play, he's coming back into play on your side. So you are giving them nothing and taking their best creature over and over and over again. It's also handy with artifacts, enchantments, things of that sort. And it's universal, so even if your opponent plays an enchantment and takes this from you, it's still affecting everyone. So, my favorite card in the deck, and as soon as I draw it, I'm like, I can't lose this game. So that is the Norin deck. There are plenty of things you can do with it. It's definitely not the only way you can build it. Oh, where'd Norin go? There's lots of lists online if you want to copy them, or you can watch this video and just break it apart there. There's lots of things you can add and tune it to your own liking, but it's fun, and it's always great to give your opponents a laugh when they're like, Norin, he can't do anything. And you earn bonus cool points if somehow you can manage to commander damage your opponent with Norin. So, that's the deck. Thanks for watching CMDR Decks. Please subscribe and favorite.